Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we've got a really fantastic explainer lined up for you. We're going to distill some incredibly valuable practical lessons directly from real-world English class feedback. Our goal today is super straightforward. We want to help you master easy, simple, and most importantly, natural English expressions for your daily small talk, your hobbies, and your emotional states. We're just stripping away all that complicated textbook grammar and focusing entirely on conversational tools you can literally use right away. Okay, let's dive right into this. Think about it for a second. Can you naturally talk about your hobbies and emotions in English during, just a regular daily conversation? It sounds simple, right? But honestly, when we're put on the spot, we often completely freeze up or we fall back on these awkward, literal translations from our native language. So this explainer is all about an easy and simple approach. We're going to look at the exact mistakes people make and the tiny tweaks that instantly make you sound like a natural English speaker. Part 1, starting daily small talk, building that foundation. Every great conversation starts with small talk. Listen to this first, slightly confused greeting we sometimes hear. It's a bit clunky, right? It totally happens to the best of us. But contrast that with saying, "I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?" This is absolutely the golden rule of small talk. You aren't just answering their question, you're politely tossing that conversational ball right back to them. It keeps the energy flowing without any extra effort. Here's another classic trap we fall into: overcomplicating things. Trying to say you went to a new hair salon doesn't need to be a repetitive, drawn-out story. Just simplify it to, "I tried a new hair salon during the long weekend." Boom, done. It's concise, it's conversational, and it sounds incredibly natural. When you're sharing a quick weekend update, less is almost always more. Section 2, confusing words and pronunciation. Let's avoid those common mix-ups. Now that our small talk is flowing, let's make sure we're using the right vocabulary before we dive deep into our passions. Take these two words, hobby and habit. They sound super similar, but there's a massive difference. A hobby is something you do in your free time for pure fun, like playing tennis. A habit? Well, that's your daily routine, like brushing your teeth or making coffee. Don't mix up your free time fun with your daily chores. And oh man, please be careful with your pronunciation here. If you say hobby, but it ends up sounding like hobbit, the person you're talking to is going to think you're packing your bags for Mordor to join the Fellowship of the Ring. Remember, it's a soft E sound at the end. Hobby. Definitely not hobbit. Here's another really common pronunciation trap we saw in the source material: lighting versus writing. If you're talking about a creative hobby that helps you organize your thoughts, you mean writing with an R. If you accidentally say lighting with an L, people are going to think you have a sudden deep passion for interior design and lamps. Part 3, expressing hobbies and emotions. Time to go a little deeper. We've mastered the greetings and dodged the vocabulary traps. Let's clear up a crucial grammar point that honestly haunts a lot of beginners. Think about this tangled phrase: "I like to listening music." You literally cannot combine to with an ing word like that after the word like. Pick one lane and stick to it. Either "I like listening to music" or "I like to listen to music." Both are perfectly fine. Now, what's really interesting about this next point is how we deal with long, messy thoughts. Trying to explain why a hobby gives you confidence can get easily lost in translation. Instead of a rambling sentence, break it down to a clear, meaningful reason. Just say, "Because we can learn and improve through them." By getting straight to the point, you sound significantly more confident and articulate. And that brings us to a really profound piece of advice from the teacher in our source. Hobbies can help people relax and reduce stress. Expressing the emotional benefit of your hobby is actually just as important as telling someone what the hobby is. People don't just want to know what you do, they want to know why you do it and how it helps you unwind. But what if your hobby is a bit modern? We have a real dilemma these days with technology. If you spend your time on your phone, you can be honest about it in a natural way. Just saying, when someone asks me what my hobby is, it's not easy to say my hobby is scrolling on my smartphone. That is a fantastic, relatable way to start a conversation about screen time and looking after your mental health. And hey, if you're discussing mental health, you're probably going to compare it to physical health. Just remember a super quick grammar rule. Exercise and diet are two distinct things, right? Therefore, you have to use a plural verb. Exercise and diet are very important. It's a tiny little detail for sure, but it makes your English sound incredibly polished. Section 4, natural sentence patterns. This is the conversational formula. So we know the vocabulary, and we know the rules. But how do we string it all together in real life without panicking? We need a structural tool. This brilliantly illustrates a highly effective four-step framework straight from our source. Answer, reason, example, conclusion. For instance, I like playing table tennis. That's the answer. It helps me focus. Reason, I forget my negative thoughts. Example, therefore, it's great for my mental health. Conclusion, it keeps you perfectly on track every single time. Let's look at a specific pattern you'll need when talking about those modern tech habits. The formula is simply be addicted to plus a noun. So instead of a messy, broken phrase, use this. I was addicted to games when I was a teenager. It's a clean, standard formula that you can just memorize right now and use forever.
Part 5, 15 key expressions. This is your ultimate cheat sheet.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that you don't need to invent brand new sentences every time you speak. We've curated this cheat sheet of essential, easy-to-use expressions distilled directly from the class feedback. You can plug these right into your daily small talk. Start with number 1 to bounce that greeting back, jump to number 3 or 4 to talk about why hobbies matter, use number 8 to sound deeply insightful about emotional well-being. Seriously, read these out loud and make them your own. And let's look at the second half of the list. Notice how expressions 12 through 15 actually form a complete mini story. When I feel anxious, I tend to overthink. Playing table tennis helped me focus. I could forget my negative thoughts. I want to start playing again. It's a natural narrative that goes from stating an emotion to expressing the benefit of a hobby. This is exactly how native speakers structure their thoughts. Well, we've covered the greetings, we've dodged those sneaky Hobbit pronunciation traps, learned the four-step conversational framework, and given you 15 cheat sheet expressions. So I'll leave you with this final, provocative question. Which of these new sentence patterns are you going to use in your very next conversation? Pick one, take action, stop overthinking your grammar, and start speaking English naturally today. Keep practicing, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.